Alright, by the way, the video title is a clickbait, so you don't suck at everything. I just want to make this quick video, and thank you so much for last week's video, even though it wasn't ASMR. Most people, when they try something new or when they get stuck at something, it kind of discourages them to explore further. Don't apply this logic to gambling. All I'm saying is that there's a learning curve for everything, right? You just can't stop when things get hard. Alright, this is not backed by science, but typically, this is what I notice about myself at least. This is a graph to represent my learning pattern that I've noticed recently. So if I draw, can you see that? Okay, if I draw that, right? I'm gonna put skill level over here, and then time. Alright, so most of the time, my skill level, when I'm learning something new, it goes like up, right? Now at this point in time, I just feel like, oh, maybe I am talented at this. It's like cooking when I've made my first French omelette, or when it comes to coding when I made my first class. I just feel like this is probably it for me, but that's where I got wrong. Typically when I reach that point, maybe there is a scientific reason for this, but I don't know what it's called. I'm not a psychology major. Right. At this point, it typically just goes downhill every time I try to make a new project or try other dishes besides French omelette. Now, in this point in time, this is where most people give up. This is where most people think like, dang, this is not for me. I gotta try something else. And they start over again and again and again. If you're in that position right now, stop it. You gotta give it time. You gotta give it time. Give yourself time to actually learn the materials and learn the foundations and the basics in order for you to excel at something. If you're tired of starting over, just stop giving up. Somebody said that somewhere, but you get my point. It's like, whenever you find something hard, don't give up over there. Then you're just gonna create a new graph. It's gonna keep doing the same thing over and over again. Give it time. Eventually, once you get to that steep learning curve, typically it just keeps going up and up, but it's almost like exponential, you know? Like it just goes really fast. Once you get the foundations, everything else is like cake. This is the case with me with web development. I mean, I'm not a master yet. I'm still looking for a job, don't get me wrong. But every time I learn a new concept, just my comprehension level, it just gets so much better. If you don't get something, don't let that discourage you, obviously. That is just part of the learning. Not everyone's gonna get the concept right away. You're not here to compare yourself to others. I don't want to sound like a broken robot, but just focus on now and don't focus too much on the end results. Once you enjoy that process, you're gonna develop a taste of solving problems. It's exhausting to put a lot of willpower into forcing yourself to study or to learn something new. It has to come naturally. And don't try to optimize your study method to be perfect, because you're just wasting time at that point. This is why I think most New Year resolutions don't work out in the end, because people just keep pushing, oh, I'll try this next time, I'll try this that time. No, if you have the time right now, just start it. It's uncomfortable, but you just gotta start it. And I just want to talk about my experience when I was first learning front-end development. I'm now moving to full stack. I'm learning back-end, so I want to get how everything just fits in the bigger picture. But back in the days when I was learning, this was way before ChatGPT or anything like that. And I was just learning HTML, CSS, and JavaScript, and I kept revolving around the same thing over and over again, and it was annoying, and I didn't have any kind of direction. I kept taking courses that I'd never finished. Every time I learned something new, like a React, for example, I felt like, dang, I'm not getting this, I'm gonna move on to a different framework. Stop doing that, even with jobs. It's like when you're in a relationship, when you love your partner so much, whenever there's a problem, you don't just call it quits, right? You talk to the problems, why you're having this problem. You just don't give up on them. Just like how you should love yourself enough to the point where when you don't get something, or when you're not doing well in something, you ask yourself that, why am I not doing well? Instead of just calling it quits and try other things and start over again. The graph I was presenting earlier, it's very similar to the concept of honeymoon phase in a relationship. Once the honeymoon phase is over, once that little incline is over, then everything just goes downhill. But when the honeymoon phase is over in your relationship, you don't just call it quits. That's where things get more interesting, actually. That's when you learn a lot more about your partner, or in this case, about yourself. You're your study patterns, what you like, what you don't like, etc. But the point is, whenever you're learning something new, it is completely normal when you don't get it, or it takes time to actually comprehend the concepts and seeing the pieces together. I usually get a whiteboard just to draw the bigger picture and then go into the detail instead of worrying about the details and then go into the bigger picture. That helps me actually kind of compartmentalize my thought process. Guess what? Now I just stop jumping from one tech to another. If I don't get like React, I'm not gonna just jump into freaking Angular, you know. I'm just gonna learn what React is about, and I'm gonna learn what Angular is about. These are front-end frameworks, by the way, for you those who don't know, and just stick with it. And then you're gonna see these things as like tools that you can use in the future, and why you prefer one over another. You gotta target that core factor of why you're doing this. It's probably not the field of study that you're choosing. It's probably not the concept that it's too difficult. It's probably you thinking that you're not good enough. Now, from now on, just think that you can do it. All right, take your time, take it slow, and learn the foundation. Yeah, that's pretty much it. I just want to tell you guys that you guys don't suck at everything, or you don't suck at something. Just get that mindset off of your head and just think you can learn anything. If there's something challenging ahead of you, take that challenge instead of saying like, I'm not good enough. Embarrassment lasts temporary, but regret lasts forever. Take that chance right now.